Hey guys, what's up? It's Cody. So I just want to do a quick video. It's not really an update or anything or any particular topic, but I just have some thoughts that I decided to kind of talk about. So I had to see my second therapist in order to get a letter for surgery, and so kind of funny that I actually kind of knew this person. And I don't like know her, but we have met before and we follow each other on social media. So anyways, that was like one of the first things that was addressed. And she had no problem helping me out and writing a letter. And she's like, it's probably good that, that she's seen the progression of my transition, because we are like social media friends, so that's kind of cool. She still did like a regular assessment on me, kind of, maybe not as in depth, but she did ask some questions that kind of just got me thinking. And I've just kind of been processing the whole thing since last Monday. So just some things that she kind of asked, like, what was it, what made me start realizing that I was trans. And so yeah, I haven't really gone to step one. I haven't really gone there and then brought it to where I am right now. And so it was kind of interesting to tell her my first hint of me being trans. And so I remember one of the first things, I remember one of the first things was that I went to this one thing called the Gender Bender, and it's put on by our Gender Health Center here in Sacramento. And it was just the first time that I didn't have to worry about being feminine or anything at all. You're supposed to gender bend, basically. And I mean, I've always been wearing not feminine clothes, but I just felt like I fit in, and I just knew that I wanted to feel that way all the time. So from then on, I read Chaz Bono's book, and it kind of put into words how I was feeling, that I couldn't really connect and be like, what is this? Because I hadn't even come out as gay at that point, so there's that. But when I did, I still didn't really feel like a lesbian. There was still this missing puzzle piece. It was just I had these lesbian friends, but it's just nothing against lesbians. It's just I identified as a boy, a male, I remember telling my friend, I don't identify as female right now at all. And that is kind of just what got the process started. And after I read Chaz Bono's book, I started going to therapy, and I'm still seeing the same therapist, so that also helps with getting a letter. She's seen me from day one of not even being able to say the word transgender or anything like that. Literally, it just felt so weird, and I've gone from that to where I am today. So after that, I remember my friend telling me to Google FTM, I think it was, or genderqueer or something along those lines. And so I did, and that's where I found a lot of people in the YouTube community. So I remember kind of starting to watch people's transitions, and I was just connected with that immediately. And I think it was just it still took me quite some time to come to terms with it, because I was still well, I don't know, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know what people are gonna think about it and things like that. But I just kept going to therapy, talking it out, till I finally came out to my mom. And even after that initial coming out to my mom, I kind of went back, just because it was so hard for me to handle. I couldn't handle requesting of others to like call me by different pronouns and things like that. And it was just, I was dealing with a lot of shame, and I think that's always just something it's been a pattern in my life, the shame and fear and things like that. So I finally got to a point where, I had top surgery, and that's kind of where I knew more than anything I wanted and needed top surgery, and I wasn't sure if that was going to be the thing to like push me over to want to match completely, because after I had top surgery, it was like awesome, like this part of me matches, and I just wanted everything to match. So that's when I decided to start testosterone. And as soon as I started to kind of like see changes of the testosterone and seeing myself in the mirror more, then it brought back like so many flashbacks of childhood. It's almost like it's where your childhood self starts to pick up after where it left off. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's crazy. So there's a lot of like childhood things that have been going through my head recently and the past few months. Certain things, just like puberty, I didn't realize how traumatic it was for me, and just how it caused so many more issues for me that I didn't know what was going on, like I just remember being so scared. I totally withdrew. I didn't know what, like the only saving grace for me was playing sports, honestly. And other than that, I didn't do a lot socially, so it was just playing sports. And I remember, starting to develop, and like starting that time of the month, I was terrified. Even though my friends were going through the same thing, I didn't want anyone to know, because it wasn't okay for me. Like, I didn't want anyone to know that I was going through this, because it wasn't something that I was supposed to go through at all. I was like, okay, it's okay for you guys to have these things. That's great. I don't care. But I don't want you to know that I have this, because it's not supposed to happen to me. So I remember crying the first time it happened. I remember not wanting to go to school every time. I didn't want to even like participate in sports. I did anyways, but I just, if I could avoid it, I would, because I didn't want anyone finding out, So it's just certain traumatic puberty things that keep rolling through my head. And also, like, I still have dreams where my chest grows back and things like that. And these are things I was talking to my therapist about. She was like, it sounds kind of traumatic. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, it was a lot more traumatic now that I think about it. And it just shows me the difficulties that I went through and how much harder it was. So yeah, I mean, I'm grateful every day to be living in a time now where I can transition. I'm so grateful that I made the decision to actually transition, and that I connect more when I look in the mirror and I see myself, and I don't see like this stranger or things like that. And also, one of the things that this new therapist asked, she asked about, all my habits, like drinking habits and things like that. It's just like, I don't drink or do drugs. There's no substance abuse. And then she asked if I had like a history of any eating disorders. And the shitty part was that I couldn't say no. There was a certain time in my life where after puberty, I hated anything about my body that was feminine. And so I guess I kind of figured out a way for me to not see the feminine part of me so much, and that was to, lose a bunch of weight, and it just, got rid of my curves and things like that, and I lost my cycle. So it like mentally helped me in that aspect where I wasn't shaped like a woman, and I didn't have the cycle of a woman, but it was incredibly unhealthy, and I had no energy, and I was very miserable and depressed and anxious all at the same time. And it's also around the same time that I got married. So it's just like throw depression, anxiety, eating disorder, and marriage together all in the same time frame, and that is just a recipe for disaster. So I'm also processing my marriage still, because you would think, I've been divorced for like 4 years now. You would think I'd be over it, but I still think about it pretty regularly. That was also a traumatic thing for me. And I keep going to what was my mindset when I got married, and it boils down to, people ask me why I got married, and it wasn't this cover up, like I'm getting married so no one knows that I'm gay or trans or whatever. It was like I was so religious, and I wanted to do what I thought God wanted me to do, what was best for me, what I was taught, and it just so happened, like, that's what I thought I had to do, and it was my only option, and I thought that feelings and things like that would follow after I was married, but it didn't work out that way. So I'm kind of still even mourning, like, that image of what God wanted for me and things like that. So yeah, so those are just some things I'm processing right now and healing. So just wanted to kind of go over that. I don't know why, but yeah, I guess I will see you guys soon. It is Transgender Day of Remembrance today, so remembering all those who have lost their lives, and those of us who are still on this earth, remember to live it with love and kindness.